want to do the following. I want to be able to make this a bit relevant to all of us, in that we're going to talk a little bit about some industry trends. I also have Centerpoint's answers to the questions I'm going to ask. Centerpoint wasn't able to, another one of our great sponsors, but was previewed the questions and has some answers. But I want everyone to kind of think about what are the technologies and the tools that you're currently using, and think about how we together might build, as we're already doing at Trade Ideas, a better platform. Try to think about what for every shortcoming you can think of, also think of at least of a positive that you're using. I think and in that vein, we can kind of go through some of these questions and we can work on, because many are going to be watching this live stream content, both live and as we kind of chop it up and use it going forward. And one of the things we'd like to be able to do is to have conversations with your brokers and with the product managers of these platforms that you use. And we have a special, over the 15 years that we've been doing this, we have regular conversations with them. And so I think it's a benefit to them and for you as well, that if you can surface some of the frustrations that you have and some of the things you'd like to see, we can certainly kind of focus and give back that feedback to them. So think about some of that as we progress here, and if you've got, that's what I'd love to hear from you in terms of when we get to the Q&A. So, having said that, our first question, I don't know if they're going to appear up here behind me, but when we talk about the industry, we talk about a lot of people that are making waves, and one of the biggest players that I see making such waves is Robinhood.
Sure.
They're like the elephant in the room. They've just gone to self-clearing. They've gotten to $1 billion valuation. But there's been a lot of things in the news that have kind of poked holes at some of their business models. So the question is Robinhood too big to fail, or is an implosion pending?
Well, too big to fail, that's an interesting question. They are big. I think that what wound up happening with them was when they came out, there were folks that got involved. And by involved, I mean opened an account over there.
Yeah.
And these are folks that may not have necessarily understood the idea of a fill. Mm-hmm. So these are folks that will place a premium on free, right? So I don't have to, whatever you were paying, $6.95, whatever they were paying. I don't have to pay $6.95 anymore. And I feel like if you're buying 15,000 shares of something and I give you the opportunity to get a 1 cent better fill on that order, I mean, what would you rather have, $150 or $6.95, Because I'll give you the $6.95, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand it. So I think that, and we spoke about this earlier, you have the retail folks that are, I'm going to buy something, I'm going to hold it for 6 years, and I'm going to see what happens. And I think that, or hey, you know what? I want to buy 1 share of Google, or like 3 shares of Facebook, or whatever. Maybe they're people that don't have a lot of horses in their stable. I think that, Robinhood does something right by them. I mean, you got a handful of, the technology is easy to use, the app's pretty cool, right? But if you're telling me that you're going to step into and out of the market frequently, if you are, like just about everybody in this room is a professional subscriber, I feel like you might want to entertain the idea, or at least educate yourself on fills. And I would be more than happy to do that, with anyone. But it's interesting. Are they going to fail? I don't want to see anybody do bad. I mean, there's a lot of people that have accounts there. So I think that there's some information that's going to get put out, and whether they have to call a crisis team or not, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're, in some ways you can look at them as having, they're doing a service. I mean, they are bringing people to the aspect of trading, a new generation, and only until and after you get to feel for every broker, every offering has got its limits.
Of course.
And there's one thing I do know, taught to me by a Harvard professor, which is, you have to be able to say no in the service of yes. That defines as much as what you can't be is all things to all people.
Right.
So you have to be able to pick and choose, and there's a famous story about this, about Steve Jobs, who said, look, if we wanted to have every single feature when we were building the Mac Air, we wouldn't be the Mac Air, we'd be a Dell.
Right.
Right. So the idea is, once you realize that Robinhood can do things and that they can't do things, and what Speed Trader can do and what they can't do, helps to self-selection people. You'd agree with that?
I would. I mean, I'm a fan of, Speed Trader, we take pride in being different. One of the things that a lot of guys will do is, and guys being representatives of broker-dealers or brokerage houses or whatever, they'll come out and they'll tell you how they're the best. I like to tell people about, how we're different, okay? We're a little different, in terms of Robinhood, and
Well, how are you different?
well, we give you the opportunity for the better fill, direct market access, okay? We cut out the middleman. We put you directly on the order book of the exchange. And what that gives you is the opportunity to get a better fill. It's also the speed of the execution, okay? So now, when it comes to, Robinhood, for example, and this is kind of the story that I tell everybody. You and I are going to start a restaurant together, okay? And on the menu, we're going to put chicken cordon bleu, right? And so we have two distributors that come to us. One guy says, hey, you know what? This is your price per pound, right? It's $4.49 a pound. And then the other guy says, I want to see you do well, so I'm going to give you your chicken for free. So we're over the moon. What a nice guy, right? What a fantastic fella. And we're like, wow, there's no overhead. I mean, this is incredible. I mean, now we only got to worry about paying the staff. Like, I wonder, maybe, we could spend some more money on advertising. But then, what are you going to do when your clients are like, this chicken is funny? This tastes funny. You know what I mean? Like, fills from the free guys, they taste funny. Okay? I don't know how else to put it to you. They just do. You will trade with them and maybe you'll find some success. And I'm here to tell you, I hope you do. But you may get to the point where you're like, I need a second opinion. And that's it.
Okay, let me just run over here and grab this ticker, which they tell me to move. And this is what Centerpoint said. This question, I don't believe they are too big to fail, but rather too smart to fail. Primarily due to the technology I foresee them introducing in a traditionally slow-moving industry. Their biggest advancement came this week when they became self-clearing. So they should have a large effect on their future and the future of our industry. Okay? This point is what we were talking about before. We don't compete directly with them, but we offer instead a path for Robinhood graduates, a more sophisticated trading solution with multiple clearing options and multiple high-end trading platforms. Okay. Great. So,
Do you really feel that
Yes.
in this kind of environment, these kind of traders, that Robinhood's even a really serious competitor?
It's volume, right?
It may be fun, but you're overpaying on your fill price for everything.
You're talking about them.
Yeah, on Robinhood.
Yeah.
Do you really feel that they're a serious competitor in the market?
I mean, the numbers are there. They're doing something that a lot of people are participating in. Competitor to us.
New people in the market, and as they educate themselves, and those people start to look around and say, okay, what's next? This is just it's an entry point to learning about self-management and trading, and then they graduate to something else.
Could be. I mean, we've seen a lot of folks come over to us from Robinhood. Like I said, I mean, listen, in this line of work, if you're helping someone, if you're a problem solver, there's not one path to prosperity. I mean, there's a lot of people here that have their own little thing that they do that earns them a little bit, or more importantly, helps other people, right? So if they're helping other people, I think that that's great, good for them. I think that for us, we're different. We offer something different. Are they on our radar? Not really. I mean, it comes up, they come up in the office, it's just, oh, wow, we got another account from Robinhood, no kidding, Like, they're on my Christmas card list, to be completely honest with you. We get a lot of accounts from them, so it's all good.
I think, again, it's to the point about, we were talking before about account size. What's the best account size to be starting with and trading and so forth, and what should you have? I think Robinhood is doing the service of reaching people who don't have the largest trading accounts, but want to at least understand what is it like to press a button, and make a trade? What is it like to sell? And regardless of their, they generally, I believe, tend to have smaller accounts. But if they're the ones that are blazing the path or going to the newest, the next generation or the newest trader to the markets, they provide that service. If they keep them, that's part of maybe what their strategy, eventually may grow to be, is like, how can we keep them and how can we, stay with them as they continue to learn. But right now they are doing the kind of job of who else, is coming into the market, and can we make that experience happen sooner than later?
Yeah, I mean, look, you could have, you could be trading with JC standing next to you, Canal pointing on your screen, and Max clicking your mouse button after a trader nap, right? At the end of the day, if the fills aren't there, it's going to be very difficult for you to be on top. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hearing when you guys are talking about the service that Robinhood provides, but I want to kind of have you discuss a little bit of the flip side, because it seems to me that there's a taking advantage of the buy and hold meme, because the whole notion of the business really was set up to not trade. Which is kind of the opposite of the notion that we bring to the table. Because think about it, when you buy and hold, what does that mean? I want you guys to really think about what that means. It means you're right. Okay, have you ever thought about that? When you buy and hold, you're right. And if you listen to what everyone here has been saying, assume you're wrong. Here, the opposite, Robinhood says, come open an account, buy and hold, you're right. Here we're saying, in the financial markets, when you get into a trade, assume you're wrong. So these people are really, I'm sorry to say, somewhat criminally taking advantage of uneducated people. Because the nature of the game is not thus. You cannot buy and hold and succeed unless you're incredibly lucky, where you can play the lottery too. And that's all I'm saying. It's like, that's why you said that you pay. The freedom isn't free, and those free trades cost you an immense amount of money. You just don't know it because they're selling you a sleight of hand.
Right. So next question we had here was, generally in your business, and this ties actually to the question that was raised just before, from where and from what sources are new clients coming with their accounts, and generally?
Yeah,
are they all coming from Robinhood, and are they all, or are they?
They're coming from all over. We have a very large word of mouth. Hey, really? Speed trader? No kidding.
So referrals and
Yeah,
such.
absolutely. We have some folks that, are very popular in the chat rooms, and they've been kind to mention our name out. We've had some trader educators that have been very kind to us over the years. I think that it just falls from our core values, and our core values are, we want to be able to do right by the client at all times. You know what? We can make a triangle, and in the triangle, we could say that we're going to put, cost in one corner, we're going to put customer service in another corner, and then, in the third corner, we're going to put execution, right? And it's very difficult to try and stretch a rubber band around and touch all three corners at the same time. Mm-hmm. We give it our best effort every day, and I think that our clients see that. I think that the folks that we work with see that. And that's where a lot of them come from, just organic referrals.
And so that probably answers the second question here. What will it take to keep these accounts for the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, it's funny. In this particular business, you do see turnover, okay? You do see it. There are some people, it breaks my heart. They come in, where they fund with $30,000, and then in 3 trades, you're down below pattern day trader, and that doesn't fit their strategy, so they transfer out, they save up some more money, and they come back. And that's a difficult thing to watch. It's like, congratulations, you made $12-13 or whatever it was. You know what I mean? It is difficult for them to stay with us 3 or 5 years. We do have some that we have accounts at Speed Trader where there's a couple $1 million in the account. We've had some people that have been with us 5-6 years, and I think what it boils down to is it boils down to, where are you getting your ideas from? How are you adjusting your strategy with an ever-changing market? And everything that you guys had touched on today. You hit all the points. Everything, trading psychology, everything.
Let's see what Centerpoint had to say about these. This is, let's see. So our business primarily comes from big box brokerages who lack active trading tools and services, along with smaller brokerage firms who lack multiple clearing relationships, large borrow lists, and multiple platforms. So that's how they kind of attract who's coming to them. And we found that in order to retain clients, it's crucial to maintain a strong relationship and be continuously innovating and improving our services. One recent example would be the addition of a fourth clearing firm, Hilltop Securities. Offering our clients multiple clearing options is one factor that sets us apart. So it's kind of like playing to their strengths.
Sure.
Again, just being able to say, no, we don't do this well, so that yes, we can say we do this exceptionally well.
Right.
Okay. Let's see. So this last question here, partners like Trade Ideas. What is it about Trade Ideas that fills a gap within your service offering that exceeds, and this doesn't have to be Trade Ideas, but you clearly, any company relies on a network of partners.
Right.
What is it about those partners that fill a gap for you, or that it helps exceed the client expectations when you put it all together?
Yeah. So in my line of work, I cannot tell you what to do. I can't tell you what stocks to trade. I can't. I can't do it. That's advice. We don't give that, right? So if you're going to come in and you're going to say, yeah, I'm going to be a trader and I'm going to learn as I go, starting tomorrow, I'm going to be profitable, watch, that's a tough statement right there, right? So as far as, the partnership that we have with you guys, there's a reason why we do it. The reason is because the data suggests that should they be getting their ideas from an outside source and they value that opinion, then they have the opportunity to be more profitable. And in my line of work, more profitable means they stick around more. They stay longer. And that's just what I want to see. I want to see them do well. We give them the discount on their trades in an effort to get them going.
I think that's right. You just reminded me of something that the European Union has done in terms of regulation, which was called MiFID. And one of the points of MiFID that was made such a big deal at the beginning of the year was about the scrutiny with which advice and analysis is being provided to clients and customers, and that there's more of a pressing urge now to make sure that there's performance behind the research you're providing. You can't just provide this research, you have to show some kind of track record, which is exceptional for Trade Ideas because all of the AI's analysis and all of our results have this track record to show here's the performance win rate, here's everything that's coming into today, the most up-to-date research that we have, along with the performance record that comes with it, both after the trade. So every day after the market closes, we evaluate the results of Holly and we showcase that. But even beforehand, before the market opens, we're providing with those win rates and so forth. You should demand the same from all the sources of information where you're getting and making decisions on. What's the performance of this? How collectively has this been performing if I'm going to use it as one of the inputs into my decision making? Let's see. So Centerpoint talks about, actually before we do that, this other question about how do you skate to where the puck will be, so to speak, with respect to anticipating your customers' needs and leveling the playing field now. How are you kind of anticipating what the needs are, whether your clients know it or not?
Yeah, it's interesting you should say that. At SpeedTrader, we pull data constantly. We pull data on client need, we pull data on client experience, and just overall market trend. So
how do you get that data?
We mine our own data, we buy it, there's many different ways that we can get it. I can tell you that, as you've got the bell curve that is your distribution, the middle of the curve is data that is most common. What we found is that, again, we have traders that have been with us for a while, and you have traders that are just getting started. There's a lot of commonalities to what their needs and goals are, right? So what we try to do is we try to just focus on that, and give them the tools that they need to succeed.
Okay. So let's see, Centerpoint had to, is this working? There we go. Whoop. One too many. The Trade Idea software is used by many of our clients and is the preferred idea generator by our extremely active and sophisticated clients. The seamless integration and ease of use is what we hear most in the feedback about Trade Ideas. As a firm founded by traders, we understand the need for a constant innovation and communication with clients. To your point, getting information from them to stay on top of changing needs. And we're able to remain at the forefront of trading solutions by partnering and collaborating with innovative and other like-minded companies. Okay. Let's see. So our last, the last question here is, where are we headed with respect to technology's impact on the markets?
Well, I mean, since the dawn of time, man has been using technology to make his life easier, to make things more convenient, get things faster, more productive. My advice, you better embrace it, technology. You have to, because the writing is on the wall. It's on its way. And stepping away from the market, I have a friend of mine who is an actuary. So we call each other quite often, talk about stuff, and he says, when my kids were born, he says, hey, I'll hit you with something. He says, the average life expectancy for my youngest, he says, the average life expectancy for youngest is 120. I said, you're kidding me, 120 years of age? He says, well, yeah, because of all the advancements that are expected in medical technology. It's going to prolong the living years. And, I'm not going to tell everybody how old I am, but suffice it to say, I will be gone for a long time if that is true, right? So it really puts a kind of pressure on how I'm going to plan for them and so forth. Now that's aside from what we do here, okay? I think that when it comes to the market, people have been putting a premium on technology for years. So there's going to be nothing but growth for technology in the markets.
Okay, great. Let's see, Centerpoint's question. I'm not going to ask you this question about where they. Sometimes when I go to CMT meetings, this is a question that almost every speaker has to answer. But if this had been dying on the vine, this is maybe what I would have kind of played a parlor game in asking about where you think the S&P is going to close. But let me read Centerpoint's answer here. And well, they actually went and had a number here. Before you look,
I won't.
Do you want to guess an S&P level?
I will say this. I will say, of course.
No, he's saying don't turn around. He's saying
okay. I'll tell you what. I will say this. I will say that, to everybody watching and everybody at home, if you guess it right, I will give you 50 free trades next year. Where is it going to be? I couldn't tell you.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
That's a good answer. But they put one on here, 2901. I feel the markets will be greatly affected, for better or worse, by the future of AI and algorithmic trading. In February, we caught an ugly glimpse of this as to how robot trading can accelerate a sell-off. I believe this shift will cause serious traders to seek out small to mid-tier sell-side firms like Centerpoint for more control and a personal touch. We strive to have the latest and greatest technology on our trading desk. And I think that's right. We talked before about Paul Tudor Jones has a quote that we use, that I often refer to, is that no man can beat a machine, but no machine is a match for a man with a machine. And I think that comes very much in line to we're at this phase where we are innovating in some green fields, but it's not a set it and forget it. It's not a click a button and sit back. It requires a man and machine. And I tell the story of Gary Kasparov, who lost to Big Blue before turned into Watson and so forth. And he's a prideful man. He walked away saying, I can't stand this. And if I had the same advantage of a database of all the possible moves, instead of just my own faculties, I might have won. So he went back and actually came up with the database to go against Big Blue in a subsequent round, and started this whole trend in chess. I forget what it's called, but now it's teams of humans and database playing with other humans and AI databases. And so now that's the kind of level playing field that everyone uses, and I kind of see that as how things may evolve. Let me turn it real quick, and then I'll kind of wrap up. We talked before, I was asking about, are there particular platforms that you're using that you'd like to see, improved, or is there a certain aspect of the platforms you're using that you rely on and you find essential? Then I want to talk about the tools they use, besides trade ideas.
Sorry, I zoned out.
We're talking about like the platforms that you're using. This is an opportunity for us to kind of take some feedback back to our, the brokerage partners and that we deal with, and kind of saying, look, here's some feedback about what's great about your product, and here's what needs to be improved.
So I think, you can build anything. Really, trade ideas. A lot of platforms. You can build almost anything. I think for most of us probably here, we're intimidated by computers and technology, and so having the ability to learn how to write the scripts or having somebody that can help you write scripts, I think that goes a long way.
That's great.
I notice even like in my classes for just how to set up a moving average on a chart, right? You could get somebody that's like my dad's age or even somebody in their 40s or 30s, doesn't matter. They're just like, whoa, like there's like 8 steps involved in getting this moving average on. And they're like, so then sometimes you go and you're looking at their stuff. I'm like, you don't have any of the stuff on the chart from class. And he's like, sorry, man, I got intimidated. And I'm like, you know, and that I think goes a long way into like technology of just, it can be intimidating, so then people just shun it when they might need it.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. That is define the journey that we've been on at Trade Ideas, where we used to, before the AI and before a kind of radical change in the way that we approached the product design and innovation behind what we do, is we used to put menu after menu after menu in front of people. And that was like the stick before we even got to the carrot. Sure. And now we just decided to flip that because people were losing their minds and telling us that they were losing their minds after going through. Now, always satisfying a small group of customers who were like, no, I love this. I'm a data modeler, and you can fit those people in a phone booth. But to everyone else, it was being beaten by a stick before they got to the carrot. So our equation flipped, and we said, how can we provide the most value on the first impression? And that started us thinking about, well, what can we do for our customers in terms of writing the script, in terms of finding what's working, and suggest, look, this is the pattern that seems to be working. But we only came to that from our own manual use of our backtesting features that are part of the tool, until we realized that for scale, we needed to do this on an automated basis, and we needed to turn this over to a machine learning process that we became more and more competent in being able to do, and that we launched in 2016, that became the Holly and the AI. And that, by the way, is not, by no means have we reached a destination. That's a journey, to be able to say, what's the maximum value that we can show you on the first impression? And that is the inside baseball at Trade Ideas of what we are constantly trying to ask ourselves for you and on behalf of our clients, to say, this is what we think we can present. And where that's taken us is not only innovation in the tool itself, but even outside the tool, where we're creating content for a lot of advisors, for our institutional customers and our advisor, segment, don't and cannot spend the time that you guys do with even 10 minutes in front of the computer or an hour or the whole day. They are often trying to build their business, they're meeting with clients, they're having lunch, they're doing the kind of things that they need to do to grow outside of being in the markets. But they appreciate the content that can be produced in a way that can be more easily digestible than having to log in and be in front of this dashboard that's giving them, and our, guys like, everyone here, the kind of, how do I land this plane and how do I navigate the market today? But that's also kind of what's driven us toward putting the maximum value in front of, on the first impression, in front of different customer segments that we have, to active traders, to advisors, and the like. I think I'll just kind of wrap up with something else that I'd like to talk about in terms of, and this is a checklist for everyone and for you when you're evaluating Trade Ideas or you're evaluating any other kind of tool. And we've talked about this before, about if you can improve the quality of your inputs, you'll get better outputs as a result. And one of the things I'm struck with about today's conversations is just how many variables go into, and that the outcome is dependent on so many of these variables. And that brings me to this thought about what technology, it shouldn't be a burden, it shouldn't be additive, it should be, in fact, it should be subtracting. It should subtract the work for you, so it does. And we talked about this before. Instead of looking at 1,000 charts or 5,000 charts, how about looking at 1,000,000 charts, and how about having a system that can do that work for you? We talked about how can we learn from the trades? What kind of journaling can I do? And if there's technology that can watch your trading and then report the results back to you, that's taking steps out later where you can more quickly get to, this is what I need to learn. If you can find technology to do that, you should embrace it. You should look for the technology that makes you better. What does that mean? We talked about it earlier today, that promotes a kind of quiet mind, that allows you, instead of saying, this is the next thing I've got to do, I've got to schedule this time tonight to look at these charts. It gives you the ability to have this quiet mind to say, it's going to do the work for me. Now I just need to kind of understand and be in a zone to receive it. So it regulates your emotions. I think obviously anything that gives you a 10x advantage, a kind of blue ocean territory. What I mean by that is can it give you the access to see things that either no one else can see at the time that you're looking at them, but gives you the ability to consistently be someplace where the puck is going to be. And then I would also look for technology and partners that comes with bennies. And the bennies are, does it come with community? Does it bring, does it come with a group of others that are supporting the product that you can also talk to? That's what makes StockTwits, that's what makes the Twitter community helpful. That's what makes our own forum at Trade Ideas so valuable. There's one person here that part of the team who's here in spirit, of course, but couldn't make it is Barry Einerson, who runs our trading room. And if anyone who subscribes to Trade Ideas clearly knows who Barry is. He's the daily, waking up with coffee and Barry in the markets. Is that sense of community that we try to provide. You should find the technology that also has a similar kind of community and embrace it. And then also, the bennies also include the kind of experiential learning, just what we're doing today. We have found, it used to be old school where we would go to these huge trader conferences in Las Vegas and traders expos, and it was a mess of people walking around grabbing swag and moving on. And what we have found is events like this are much more intimate. The learning is, the quality of the learning is much higher, and what's retained is so much higher than just a kind of passing business card, kind of moving on and getting through a huge conference room. And so finally, I would say, again, there's experiences and I would say content. For all the technology, one criteria should be what's the content coming out of it. So I'm either in the tool, am I getting anything that's outside the tool? And I think that'll steer you right in how you use and approach platforms and partners for your to make your decisions in the market. Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you, everyone.